keep going, brother. Let's see what else you got to say.
What's up, guys, and welcome. You are watching Fazi Fitness. So let's start this video with a few weeks out physique update from Sergio Oliva Jr. In my opinion, easily the best pictures posted by Sergio throughout this year. So let's talk about the positives first. That chest is looking so insane in that side chest shot, which means this time, after FIBO Germany, he was able to do the pressing movements freely, which wasn't the case during the prep for FIBO Germany. And the reason he was unable to do that before was because of that shoulder injury, and he even revealed that himself before the competition in one of the episodes of the Menace podcast, that his chest isn't gonna look that great. And we did see his chest flattening out, especially in those front shots like the front double biceps. So when people talk about the unreal width that Sergio Oliva Jr. has on the stage, well, then this front lat spread, that is exactly what they are talking about. So right now the man is looking very round, and he's gonna take up a lot of space on the stage, and that is something which goes massively in Sergio's favor. So the conditioning also looks very impressive for roughly 5 to 6 weeks out if he is going for Europa Pro Germany. So it seems like that part is covered. Now let's talk about some concerns, some weak points. No back shots were posted by Sergio, which we saw was the biggest weakness on him when he stepped on the stage against Andrew Jacked and Sazan Herati at FIBO Germany. So he had to catch up a lot in that regards, especially in terms of the back density and thickness, judging by how he looked at FIBO Germany. So him not posting that specific shot, that could only mean one thing, that the progress in that area, that hasn't been that much, and it is still going to be a weak shot for him. But that being said, hopefully he will show up with a much balanced back. Other than that, the man is looking amazing here, and this is his chance to win the second pro show of his career and finally get back on the Olympia stage after 2018. Before you scroll or blink too hard, have you subscribed yet? Please don't make me bring out the emotional blackmail. Hit that subscribe button and turn on the bell icon. It's free, it's painless, and that makes me look way cooler than I actually am. That is one awesome shot of the guy who is always gonna be a wild card in any big shows that he enters. The Mona Lisa of bodybuilding, Andrew Jacked, looking very big and also very 3D at 10 weeks out of his 4th Mr. Olympia competition. So he's looking crazy strong in the gym, and this year might be very different for Andrew Jacked because it is the first time in his pro career where he's skipping Texas Pro and the strategy of competing 8 weeks before the Olympia. That just never worked out for him in the past 3 years, and he always looked kind of burnt out when he stepped on the Olympia stage. But this time, he got his Olympia qualification at FIBO Germany, which happened in the month of April. So the trend with Andrew Jacked was that he always showed up amazing at the Arnold and Texas Pro, and he always missed his mark at the Olympia level. So this is something that is the great Cedric McMillan, may he rest in peace, he always showed that similar trait. So the question in regards to Andrew is that, how high can he place at the Olympia if he shows up 100%? Now I think most of us agree that Andrew is most probably gonna be the biggest challenge for Samson Dauda if he shows up dry and shredded, but at the same time, somehow he manages to keep on all his roundness and fullness, all of his wow factor, while bringing that same level of conditioning that we saw from him at this past Arnold. So his look from Texas Pro last year, that is a great blueprint for him. I think that was a great combination of everything on Andrew Jacked. The size, the conditioning, the fullness, everything was there. Now we cannot expect Andrew Jacked to show up with dugout hamstrings and the glutes, because that is something he genetically doesn't have. Or if he actually goes for that kind of conditioning and that kind of dryness, it's a very high likelihood that he is again gonna lose a lot of his pop and fullness and that wow factor that makes him great, which makes him such a unique looking physique on the stage. So that is probably never gonna happen. Now that being said, it has been an amazing offseason for Andrew Jacked so far, and for surely this time there will be some improvements in his physique when he steps on the Olympia stage. And the reason I'm saying that is because the last time he skipped the Arnold and he went through a long off season, that was back in 2024. He showed up at his all-time best in Texas Pro last year. So all the eyes on Quinton Beastwood, as the man is fully transparent during this prep, hiding nothing as far as how his physique has been changing this close to the show. So here we have 4 days out physique updates from this year's Texas Pro show, the same show where he once delivered one of the best looks of his career, and that was 3 years back with Dorian Hamilton as his coach. But this is all around a different physique in every possible way. Bigger, sharper, very much filled out. So Quinton is getting closer to his first pro win. And as far as the record goes, the second place finish at Tampa Pro, that was the 3rd time him placing 1 spot short of tasting his first pro victory. So we can all agree that Quinton had the most beautiful physique in this year's Tampa Pro show. And many people out there, including myself, we had him leading after the prejudging. But that being said, you cannot ignore a guy like Jordan Hutchinson, who just outmuscles him by a lot, especially from the back. So Quinton is still lacking some density and thickness in the back shot specifically. And that is something that Jordan has, who is again gonna be his biggest rival at Texas Pro. But again, if we take a look back at 2024, Quinton showed up super dry and very shredded for the New York Pro, but he just lost too much size, and when he filled out for Toronto Pro, he looked way more impressive and he plays way better. And Quinton has that type of physique, which is gonna be rewarded by the judges, solely based on his supreme aesthetics, his insane structure, even when he isn't in the best condition. So hopefully he shows up a lot better than what we saw at Tampa Pro and he gets the win, because he is going to be a very good addition to this year's Olympia lineup.
It's fine. I mean, because last time he talked a lot of shit. You know, he said me and Samson were fighting for 3rd, and who got 3rd?
As if that indirect response of the mutant Nick Walker to Derek Lunsford and his statement that Nick should thank him for doing the Pittsburgh Pro, that wasn't enough. Here comes Nick with another one, and this time he's more open and direct. So nothing that Nick is claiming here is wrong. But let's accept the fact that Nick almost beating Derek at the Pittsburgh Pro, that did help him gain a lot more hype and a lot of momentum for this year's Mr. Olympia. Because many fans out there are now thinking that Nick almost beating Derek and Derek previously beating Samson Dauda at the Arnold, that kind of makes the mutant one of the biggest contenders for this year's Olympia title. And the fact is, it certainly does. If some of these guys...
If I wasn't in the show, he wouldn't have. I don't think he would have gotten the hype that he did. Oh, okay, bro.
If some of these guys, they coming off, and we did saw that happening even last year at the Olympia, where both Derek and Hadi Choopan, they came in off. Samson Dauda at the Arnold, he wasn't at his 100%, and Derek at the Pittsburgh Pro, he missed his mark. So I think with all this trash talk, that Derek versus Nick matchup, that is gonna turn out to be one of the biggest rivalry that the fans are gonna be looking forward to, especially at this year's Mr. Olympia and possibly in the future too. So Nick also talks a lot, but let the record show that he's yet to beat his 2023 Olympia placing, and he is yet to beat Derek Lunsford too. And he thinks that the Olympia is gonna be the venue where that is finally going to happen.
That's absolutely hilarious. That is...
So keep going, brother. Let's see what else you got to say.
So not a very recent physique update of Urs Kalashinski. I believe these were taken sometime in June, right around the time when Urs started his Olympia prep. And he's the guy who likes to go 100% shadow mod, just like Dorian Yates. So these are the last ones where we can kind of analyze his physique. Now you can never really assume that Urs is gonna mess on the conditioning mark, simply because there is no other way for him to make the weight cutoff. He has to lose every ounce of fat and water in order to do that. And Urs set up very high standard on what type of conditioning he wants to bring, this time at the Olympia. So he told Chris Bumstead that this time he wants to show up with Andrea Monza-like conditioning, the man who is widely known as the most shredded man in the entire bodybuilding history. So there were some visible improvements on his physique, especially those arms are looking a lot better. Now somehow, Urs has been able to make improvements in those areas, like the back and the arms, even with the weight cap. Now obviously his back, that isn't going to be in that top 3 best backs in the entire classic physique. We already know that. And from this update, it's pretty damn hard to judge whether he was able to make any improvements, because we will find out more about this when he gets ripped. So just like last year, when many people out there thought that Urs is gonna be outside of that top 3, but this year people are again counting him out. But I do think that the man is right there and he's gonna be in the mix. And the off time that he took finally, that is going to serve his physique very well. So hit the thumbs up button if you liked the video and smash the subscribe button if you wanna come back for more. Thanks for watching.